You read that translation? It has everything, no? It has everything, the source of blessing. Actually, I read the inquiry question. Only I stopped one. First one is, whom are you praying to? That's first one. Second one is, why do you pray? What's brought you here? What's brought you here? Basically, there are many other things you could have done today. Somehow, some kind of spark or whatever it is brought you here. So maybe you can connect to that. And then in terms of why do you pray? And then how do you pray? So that's what we're gonna do, but those three things. So maybe we can go over the English one, what he's saying. Many of your parents, and also you could be son and daughter, of course. So moment you are praying this one to your own great mother, perhaps long lost great mother. So with this yearning for merging, yearning for discovery, rediscovery of who you truly are. Namo Guru Deva Dakini, so Sanskrit. Always we start Sanskrit. To homage to Guru Idan Deity and Dakinis. This could be one personified embodiment and saying all these things. I prostrate to you. Then victorious one's mother, basically mother of the Buddha. To you I prostrate. That's Prajna Paramita, could be great mother. And also the source of everything. When I invited you to connect, very briefly, but to connect to your lower belly, origin point, maybe or the source of the origin of your birth. Could be that too. So that one, to you I prostrate. We don't prostrate anything. Like I prostrate the computer or prostrate some other stuff. We go to the core. We got light into the core. Victorious and mother. That's you. I prostrate. Mother, your daughter born from the great mother's heart. So Prajna Paramita, if you visualize the Prajna Paramita, great mother, at her heart center, the Machik birth from her heart. So that's what he's saying. Holder of the Prajna Paramita's teaching. Holder of the emptiness teaching. That's you. And also liberator of all the fortunate's mind. So that's us, the fortunates. So we are so fortunate. We met the Buddha, we met the teaching, and we met this practice. Then he's saying liberator, the one who brings freedom to our own heart. Then to you, Machik Lapton, my mom, to you I pray. The next one, mom, you are Dakini of timeless awareness. So Ripa, or the Yeshe, you're not just ordinary Dakini. There are many levels of Dakinis, right? So you are the ultimate Dakinis. Dakinis of pristine awareness, timeless awareness, Yeshe Kando. And also you are not just ordinary human being, beyond. And also you are the opener of the three gates to freedom. This is the translation of the so-called three door to liberation, in Buddhism. And all the schools talks about that, right? No self, egolessness. There are many ways to translate, but the three are the no self, no form, and no goal. Emptiness, signlessness, and aimlessness. So she's the one who reveals all these teachings. Then conqueror of host of the four demons. So four demons you guys are familiar with. Machik's four demons. If I use Sarah's translation, the material demons, the immaterial demons, and the devil of exaltation, and the debris of inflations. So those four, the four demons. So she is the one who conquer those four demons by realizing the unborn, not with weapons or the bombing, or not like that. So my venerable Mother Lapton, to you I pray. The next one, Mother, you are the low birth. So that was a Tibetan way of saying the female. But lofty mind. So he's using this contrast. She has such a vast, lofty mind, but also the high, great mind. But at the same time, her birth was a female. Then small statue, yet so majestic. So it seems like Machik Dakini was short, in terms of height. She was a nice, short lady, but at the same time, she was so majestic. Have you met those people who are very short or the very small statue, but very majestic? We feel the presence just by looking at. So she was like that. Then white complexion. So white. White means just like radiating this luminosity, radiating lights, it said. So my great venerable Mother Lapton, to you I pray. Then Mother, your body. So now he started to praise the body, speech, and mind one by one, but not just ordinary way of praising. Like a body, you are such a beautiful, like a fashion model. Nothing like that. This is the really great way to praise your body, your emptiness appearance with marks and signs. So Sambhoga Kaya, body of light, appear yet empty, and yet has all these marks and signs, auspicious signs. Then your speech, so when you speak, when you teach, your speech is like an empty sound, like an echo, like emptiness or the silence is speaking. Have you ever had an experience? Have you ever heard the silence speaking to you? That's how she teaches the Dharma. It's not like a blah, 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 blah teaching like ordinary we do. Especially I do. So then your mind, clear light. So her mind is always resting in that state. Clear light of bliss and emptiness. Like a surface of the clear lake, no repose. Bliss and emptiness combined. So that's you, my mom. I pray to you. Mother, first you gave me body and mind. This is a line. Makes my eyes wet, moist always. Mother, first you gave me body and mind, then provided me all material needs, and finally revealed to me the unborn. Venerable Mother, Lapton, to you I pray. So then next, Mother, you manifest in the form of Buddha Dakini, naturally white, encircled by 100,000 litany. So from now on, he described 5 aspects of the Machik Lapton, one by one, so-called 5 Dakinis, starting with Buddha Dakinis. So you can see this characteristic of the Buddha Dakinis, naturally white, and also each Dakini is surrounded by the 100,000 litanies, which are similar to the main one, in this case, Buddha Dakini. So when you pray, I want you to imagine too, if you like. So this kind of prayers, when we do, make our imagination as wild or as crazy as possible, lofty. Don't be modest when it comes to prayer. To make it wild, as extensive as possible, and as lofty as possible. Okay? So then you get more blessing. Mother, you manifest in the form of Vajradakini. So now Vajradakini, peacefully soothing blue, encircled by 100,000 litany. Mother, you pacify sickness. So this is the function. Right? Oh, I skipped the function of the Buddha Dakinis. So go back, the second line. Mother, you grant sublime accomplishment. So accomplishment is usually a translation of motu, but it could be, I think, realizations, same thing. You grant sublime realization, accomplishment, or achievement, sometimes translate. My venerable mother, Lapton, to you I pray. Then Vajra Dakini, peacefully soothing blue, encircled by 100,000 retinue. Then function is you pacify sicknesses, disturbances, negative karma, and obscurations. By Venerable Mother, Lapton, to you I pray. Mother, you manifest in the form of Ratana Dakini, Gate golden, so golden letter, Gate mantra, encircled by 100,000 rituals. Mother, you enhance longevity of merit. My venerable Mother, Lapton, to you I pray. Mother, you manifest in form as Padma Dakini, passionate red, encircled by 100,000 litany. Mother, you bring the three worlds under your control. So subjugation, this power or powerful activities. My venerable Mother, Lapton, to you I pray. Then last one, Mother, you manifest in the form as Karma Dakini, wrathful green, encircled by 100,000 litany. Mother, you grind the four demons to dust. Very wrathful activity, no? The Karma Dakini's activities. My venerable Mother, Lapton, to you I pray. So if you'd like, and if you have a room in your mind, you can visualize 5 Dakini in front of you in the front generation. So as some of you, I think many of you practice 5 Dakini practice. So at the center, Machik Lapton and Buddha Dakinis, white color, here above you and in front of you. And then the front at the lower part, at the Vajra Dakini. And then on our left, on her right, in the Ratana Dakinis, and yellow, and behind or above, then Padma Dakini, red, and this side, on our right, and on their left is a Karma Dakini, green, something like that. Then each Dakini is surrounded by all the hundreds of thousands of Dakini, similar to the main Dakinis. So that's why it's very good to start with meditation. We just did. Just started feel into or sense into this awake presence filled with all this entire universe presence. So visualization does not become just conceptual. So I wanted to feel into the body, like almost like a feel senses, somatic sensation and feeling, you know, it's actually there. So we are practicing in the presence of the awake beings. Okay, then he continues. Actually quite profound, the next one. Mother, now he's saying 3 levels of Machik Laptons, outwardly, inwardly, and secretly. He outwardly suffer gods and demons deceptions. Inwardly suffer physical sickness. Secretly sever mental confusions. My mother, Venerable Lapton, to you I pray. I think you can guess this sever is a translation for Chu, you know, Chupa, Choma. In this case, Ma, because mother. So the mother who severed was cut off or cut through. So then, mother, you cut off views bias. You know, bias, we argue about the views, you know, good or bad on this and that. She cut off or she went beyond all this argument, conceptual view. Then cut off the meditations of affirmation or denial. Yes and no, this is the good or bad in terms of meditation. She severed that. Then cut off the conduct of accepting or rejecting. So in terms of conduct, activities, she went beyond the accepting and the rejecting. So we talked about Machik for abandonment. Her conduct was not based on her conceptual idea about good or bad, accepting or rejecting. My venerable mother Lapton, to you I pray. What do you think about this? Everything we do in our life spontaneously coming from that place, Buddha nature. Because Buddha nature already knows what to do, already love itself, already open. What would our life be? How meaningful to others if we act like that, without any obscuration, without this ego's fixation, me on the others, this is more important than others, or this is my family, all those things. Most of our life are defined by all these concepts, no? So then again, we inquire into what's blocking me from completely fully open to live in that way, deepest part of me. So anyway, so that's just a little inquiry each of us can do later. So mother, you suffer fear of wandering in cyclic existence. The suffer hopes for freedom. So you can see here, Korwa, secret existence, samsara. And also, even she abandoned the hope or the goal for freedom. And the suffer deception of a dualistic grasping. So subject object dualism. And also, yeah, we can talk lots about these things. Very profound, each line. My mother, venerable Lapton, to you I pray. Mother, you cut the fixation to the body. So we have a lot of fixation on our body, no? And cut the self-grasping of the mind. Self-grasping means another name for the imposing what's not actually true as actually true, inherent existence. And cut the hopes and the fears for result. My mother, venerable Lapton, to you I pray. Mother, you manifest the unborn Dharmakaya. Now he is going into these three kayas. So manifest the unborn Dharmakaya. So she is the one who manifests the Dharmakaya. Display the unceasing play of Sambhogakaya. So in the Sambhogakaya form. And fulfill the aims of many beings, Nirvana Kayas. So she is the one who embodied the three kayas. My mother, venerable Lapton, to you I pray. So each time we pray or we practice, we are practicing embodying the three kayas, no? With body, speech, and mind. So this is not just addressing to Machik Lapton particular manifestations. See if we can speak to our own Buddha nature, if anything comes up. Then finally, after all these praises he made, what he's asking is here. By the force of my fervent or sincere prayers to you, O Mother, so now I made the prayers to you. So now may you bless this faithful child. Faithful is translation for mopa, mope, faithful or pure, the child with pure mind. So that's like us, not right now. We are making prayers. Then bless me that I turn negative condition to the path. That's one thing. Specifically, we are asking to our Buddha nature, bless me that I turn negative condition to the past, whatever life present, negative or challenging, how challenging it might be. May I be able to turn or bring that to the path, to awakening. Bless me that my adversity shine as aid. So not only that, may my challenges or difficulties or suffering, whatever it is, or delusions, confusions, shine or dawn as the aid for the medicine for awakening, medicine for the aid to connect to all beings. Bless me that I cut through the root of confusions. Bless me that I realize the unborn nature of my mind. So that one's ultimate, no? Unborn. Our nature of mind is unborn, unceased, deathless. So we are moving toward discovering who we are is beyond death and birth. Okay, so that's a very quick commentary. So went over the English one.